I want to say up top that it has been one of the muggiest weeks ever in New York. Like humid. And thank goodness for air conditioning in the theaters of Lincoln Center. Walter Reed, Francesca Beale, Eleanor Bunin Monroe, and one other that I can't remember.
All of them.
That also was
I'm
not
Wilson
very good. Let's wait. We got to do something better.
No, we gotta do what.
Was that a joke? I was confused.
No, he's like 100% thanking the.
He's genuinely thanking AC. I know AC saves lives.
The way that people were networking online for the screenings, they should have called it LinkedIn Center.
Oh.
Okay, approved. I'm Wilson Lai.
I'm Benjamin Yap.
I'm Eli Sands.
You're listening to Deep Cut.
On Deep Cut, we compare a director's most popular film with a personal favorite chosen by one of us, usually.
We also discuss a director's life and career to bring context that helps us view their movies as they may want us to, or as the many of them want us to, because there's more than one movie in this episode.
Correct.
If you're enjoying the show and you just discovered us searching up maybe podcasts about New York Film Festival, please rate and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts to help others discover the show. Better still, you can leave a review on Apple Podcasts or comment on episodes directly on Spotify. You can also find us at deepcutpod.com to find links to our socials, Discord, and Patreon. Welcome to a very, very special episode of our podcast where we are going to be covering the 63rd New York Film Festival, which is happening this month in New York City. And our very own Eli Sands was once again at the festival covering for us officially this time, like fully officially covering for Deep Cut Podcast.
Yeah.
Eli, how was the festival this year?
I've really enjoyed it. I mean, I've said many times that Lincoln Center is my cinematic home for sure. But also, I think that the curation and facilities and the workers of the festival all make it a really comfortable and fun experience. So, I mean, right up top, just want to say thank you to the folks who work at Lincoln Center. Everything from ushering to setting the program. It's a great festival. And up top, regardless of what movie you go and see, if you get a ticket, you're in for a great New York experience with an audience of people who care about the movies.
Wow, sounds fantastic. Hopefully next time we can all be at the New York Film Festival.
True. That would be swell.
One can hope.
We're looking for sponsors. Not really, but if you wanted to be one, we'll be open to it.
Yeah. Even better if you're an international airline or you own hotels.
Like Jet2.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday.
Darling, hold my hand.
Hey, if you want to put out content on the airline, that would be fantastic because we'll be covering so many festivals from all around the world, which your plane could be flying to.
Wait, you know how on like the
actually,
TV screens on the back of the seats on a plane, they'll like give you options for content to watch, like movies, TV. Only one category, podcasts, and it's just us.
Yeah, like if you're flying to Hong Kong, then it's our episode on the Hong Kong Film Festival. If you're flying to Singapore, it's ours on the Singapore International Film Festival. You're to Tokyo, our upcoming Tokyo coverage. Wink, wink is coming. This shit international.
If you wanted to watch something else, sorry, you have no other choice.
No other choice.
See what I did there?
No other choice. So on today's Dispatch episode, like with all our Dispatch episodes, we're going to take a little bit of time and talk about each of the films that Eli saw at the festival, maybe a couple more that we have caught at different places in the world. But today, I'm going to take the reins from Eli a little bit just to start us off. Because I've just seen a movie. Well, Ben also saw it, but he's not as hot on it as I am. I just saw a movie that rocked my freaking world, and I feel like I need to get my words out there when the iron is hot and when everyone else is talking about it. I am talking about none other than Paul Thomas Anderson's latest feature film, One Battle After Another, starring Leo DiCaprio, Chase Infinity, Tiana Taylor, Benicio del Toro, Sean Penn, the greats. And I will tell you, it was truly great.
Eli,
do you want to remove your headphones?
I'm gonna, because I haven't seen it yet. So just give me a thumbs up when you're done talking about this, and I'll come back.
We're about to cover the New York Film Festival remotely. Through the international release.
This film just premiered last week, and also because we have such a quick turnaround on this episode is only going to come out next week, so hopefully this is really fresh in people's minds. For me, I just think that was hands down the best movie I've seen all year. Shit. I really didn't know what to expect going in. I didn't really understand that this movie was going to be about like revolutionaries in America, modeled very closely after the America that we're seeing today. And I think it's ballsy to pull this off and have characters be in this world where illegal immigrants are such a big issue, and I don't know, abortion clinics, racism, like these really present political conflicts that are going on in America are being tackled on head on by PTA, but it also at the same time it feels very personal to him as a father of a biracial daughters. It feels very personal. It's just brilliantly directed, brilliantly acted. I love it so much. I've been telling everybody around me to watch it. It doesn't really matter what format, I believe. I think it just works as a picture. And it's, fantastic. Ben, what did you think about One Battle After Another?
I think overall the filmmaking, the writing, acting, like I think all the technical elements are like pretty unimpeachable in this. Like it's just like at a very high level, and I think if you look at it compared to any other film coming out of Hollywood, especially, like there's something about it that just doesn't feel like anything else. Like the way it moves, the way it looks, its tone, even some of the acting style. Like I think PTA just knows how to direct a scene or any scene, and we talked a bit briefly before we recorded about the chase sequences, and I think just like really well done, and not in a way that feels predictable, I guess, in the way that he does coverage or the way that he covers any scene. I think I just, for me, am a bit question mark in terms of like a feeling like maybe my appreciation for it is a bit more detached compared to like other people's like, holy shit, like incredible, best movie ever. And I'm trying to figure out why I don't feel so strongly about it. And when I read some review that kind of compared it to older 70s style action movies, something like a Bullet, you know, where like the action is less over the top, less crazy. And this is not over the top, but something about the filmmaking in the 70s where it's more like a muscular filmmaking, but not so kind of, I would say like ADHD in its like approach. It's really hard to describe. But for me, I think the best parts about it is like the world building. Like it's creating this like Pynchon-esque world, which is like kind of insane. Yeah, but I think my main reservation is about this political edge around it, that I don't really know how it feels and what it really is really, because I mean at the core of it, it really is this father-daughter story that you alluded to. Like I kind of don't know if the details are there to be thought about or just to be there to kind of create flavor, if that makes sense. You know? And I think there's debates about whether the film is picking a side. No, I think it's quite clear that it does pick a side, and I don't think there's a question to that. But
I think so too.
Yeah, but I think it's more like, so this side, but then so what? Right? In terms of maybe the larger narrative.
But I think like the ultimate point that this movie gets to at the end, that this idea, okay, if you don't want to be spoiled, I'm talking about like thematically, not what is happening, but like I guess two different generations and one not being able to win the battles that they were fighting and leaving it to the younger generation, like leaving that hope for a better future and passing that on to the younger generation, and sort of like the heartbreak of having to do that and not being good enough to make a better world for your offspring is such a powerful thing. And I think that is something that I took from that ending of the film. And I think in that is sort of what PTA might be trying to say politically. Like, I feel like we fought, but we lost. And now it's on to you, like the younger people. But that makes it even more moving for me.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that, but I don't know, not to like speak too much about the plot and everything, but like, I don't know how baked into the proceedings that really is, aside from like what it is, because at its very core, it's actually a very, very simple plot. Like in terms of when I would say the main story begins, like it's actually a very, very simple plot. And I think part of my reservation is that because of its kind of Pynchon-esque world building, right? Yeah. That it feels like kind of very zany and very odd and like like this alternative
it's
America.
Wacky.
Yeah, it's like wacky movie. Funny movie, odd movie, yeah. And you know, even as I say this, I'm like feeling, do I want this movie to feel more realistic? But also maybe no. And I kind of am like of two minds about it. It's like, if it were more realistic, maybe it'd be less fun and like too serious about its subject matter. And so maybe it is good that we're tackling this, but with a bit of like a, well, it's a bit fucking weird, isn't it? Kind of like tone. Yeah. Right. So I am kind of two minds about it. I'm like, maybe like as I'm processing it, and because he's throwing so much of this like revolutionary stuff at me, I'm like, do I need to think about the revolutionary stuff hard? And I think you actually
you don't really.
Right. But I was thinking about it really hard. So I think that's kind of like the struggle.
But it's that like ridiculous tonal balance that he's able to like achieve that is so like astounding. Like I just really can't believe that we are able to watch this in 2025.
I think just in terms of like filmmaking and like plot momentum, like this movie fucking rips. Like it just rips. Like it keeps going. Like
2 hours and 40 minutes of ripping.
Yeah, like maybe I would say that I was like, I don't know if this prologue needs to be this long, but it is still a very engaging movie, despite me thinking that from a more like almost meta standpoint. But it's still a prologue that rips, and then movie moves really fast and keeps going, right? And spends very little time setting things up. It just throws you right into the deep end, like immediately. Yeah.
Which is so different from other PTA as well, because usually he's like a slow and I don't know, conversations in rooms type of filmmaker. But this is action packed, like especially that last act. It doesn't really let up until like it ends. Yeah. Okay, that is us talking about one battle after another. If you haven't seen it yet, buy your tickets, go watch it on the big screen. It is truly one of the best movies I have seen in the last few years. Like I will be talking about this in the year in review episode, no question.
I mean, I'm looking at my year in review and I'm like, wow, my yearly ranked list. I'm like, wow, actually pretty thin year.
It's not been a great year. This has been my first 5-star of the year, which is really saying something for me. Yeah.
I don't think I've had a 5-star this year. And I do see why this really stands out, at least this year.
Eli has one at New York Film Festival, and we'll get to that later. But
so excited.
We're going to move from one blockbuster, in a sense, to another hopeful big hit in the US, which is Park Chan-wook's newest feature film, No Other Choice. So, Eli, what did you think about No Other Choice?
Yeah, so this was the first press screening that I saw at the film festival this year. And I hadn't seen a new Park Chan-wook film since The Handmaiden. I didn't catch Decision to Leave, which I still would like to watch, and I hear it's really good.
You should.
I'm getting nods. It's good.
You have no other choice. You have to watch it.
It is.
Okay. All right.
The decision
I better make a decision to watch.
To leave to go to a theater has been made. Bring your handmaiden.
Because I'm an old boy.
Oh.
With sympathy for... Okay, anyway. No Other Choice is about a family man who is doing okay and everything's normal. in his life. He's got the house, he's got the dogs, he's got the wife, he's got the kids. He's like upper middle class. He's doing very comfortably. He's got his job at the paper factory until he loses that job and he needs to re-enter the job market. And he sees pretty quickly that there are too many people competing for too few spots in his industry. So what does he do? He does what anyone would do, and he starts killing off his competition.
What a premise.
It's a pretty classically Park bonkers premise, with the line being walked between comedy and violence, right? That's very much so his thing. But I think whereas in earlier films, they were primarily violent with some uncomfortable bursts of comedy, I would say that this at first casts itself as a comedy with bursts of violence that turns across its runtime into a more classically Park, bleak and upsetting exploration of what capitalism makes men in particular do. It's pretty good. I will say that it reminded me a bit too much of Tokyo Sonata, the Kiyoshi Kurosawa film, which we discussed in episode number whatever.
This is like evil Tokyo Sonata is what it feels like.
Kind of. And it definitely is less forgiving of its characters. And the family unit, if you can believe it, falls apart even more, kind of, in some ways.
That's kind of crazy.
But it's dealing with a lot of the same themes, and it actually has a lot of similar story beats or like story components, like a child who's a music prodigy who we don't see play until the end of the movie. There are some kind of eerie similarities that distracted me. In all, not my favorite Park I've seen, but still a pretty great and fun watch. The lead actor is great.
I'm excited to watch it. I think it's going to be in Singapore real soon.
Started playing in Hong Kong today.
Oh my God.
And I had dinner with someone just like an hour ago that was like, that was my favorite movie of the year.
Oh.
I was like, whoa. So high hopes for this one.
Should we move on? Next one?
Well, next one is a significant dip in quality, I'm afraid. Do you know in Charlie Brown how he'll go to kick the football that Lucy's holding and then Lucy will pull it away and he'll fly?
Yeah.
Yep.
Consider this the last time I fall for Can Hype's football to my Charlie Brown.
Ooh.
I was really excited for Sirāt, directed by Olivier Laxe, or Lache, maybe? I don't know. And it seemed like it was going to be a really kind of travelogue-ish, interesting drama about rave culture in North Africa. And it sort of starts out that way. But the movie changes its mind about what it wants to be so frequently. It is a road movie. It's like a big trucks on a small road movie a la Sorcerer. It's Y tu Mama Tambien and La Ventura and you know, cute father-son dog trio and Wisemanish exploration of a niche community. It's all these things that sound good on paper, but really non-committally do not mesh. And narratively, it does not hang together. It really kind of walks itself off a cliff, which once you see the movie, you'll understand why I'm saying that in particular.
Wow.
And really, there's one really cool sequence that made me think, oh, actually, this knows what it's doing, in which the main characters bring speakers out of their trucks on this like giant, beautiful to look at, flat plain of desert. And they start just dancing to the music. And it's like, I see what Laxe is going for here. This is like the vibes. It's meditative, but also kind of enthralling and makes you wonder what's going on in these people's heads. And then the movie takes a really bizarre, violent turn, several violent turns. And it made me realize, oh, this director is just in this for the shock. It's not actually a coherent narrative or even a coherent vibe film. It's trying to be too many things. It's also stacking on religious allegory and trying to say something loose about geopolitics and being a refugee. And I don't know. It's a bit too much of a mess.
I fully have no idea what this movie is about. Apparently it's about raves.
It's like Burning Man, right?
Yeah, I'm like, what is this movie?
Technically, the log line is a man and his son go looking for the missing daughter because she was last heard of at one of these raves in North Africa. So he's sort of a fish out of water looking for her, but that's really only the starting point. And the movie kind of forgets about that daughter. Not worth catching.
Okay, let's move on to, I think it's looking like 2 restored films that you're going to talk about.
Yeah, these were, while neither of these were my favorite movies that I saw, they were both really interesting experiences. The first one was 1932's Queen Kelly, directed by Erich von Stroheim. It had been so long since I'd seen a silent film on the big screen, so I was really excited for this. And it's a great classic silent melodrama with really lush production design. And it seems like, you see all the money on screen. It was a really interesting partnership of the lead actress, a producer in Boston, and von Stroheim. And as the production went on, von Stroheim was going way over budget and going very slowly. And they only got to shoot like less than half of the movie before the producer wrested control away from von Stroheim, hired another director who shot another ending, and then they capped it all off.
Oh, wow.
And it seems like parts of the movie as well are lost in the way that over 70% of silent film is lost anyway. So watching it, it's got like a classic silent melodrama feel. Like I could really see it slotting into Professor Dombrowski's class on melodrama, which, was formative for all three of us. And at the same time, it's truly lacking the second half of its story, if not more. So the great restoration people at Milestone and the George Eastman Museum have done a kind of reconstruction of what the story would have been. For the last 10 minutes of this reconstruction, it's intertitles saying what the plot would be and production stills kind of representing it. But it can't help but feel like a rush, and rather than having an ending of the movie that engages emotionally with these characters, you're feeling emotional about the loss of film history, which is interesting. And again, a totally unique experience.
I mean, it sounds like because of that, you kind of approach it the way that you might approach, I guess, a normal movie, because in that sense, like the movie will kind of stop and like not be the movie itself anymore.
Correct.
Like kind of a more academic experience almost, rather than something where you can fully immerse in whatever the movie wants to be, because it cannot ever be that anymore.
Yeah, but then the tricky thing is that for the first part of the movie, because it is pretty much intact for a good stretch of it, you are engaging emotionally with those characters. And it's about Patricia Kelly, this orphan who falls madly in love with the prince of the land who's betrothed to the queen, and she's cast out and, has to go enter a marriage she doesn't like, and she changes her personality entirely. It's a great melodrama epic. So you are sucked in emotionally, and then it's ripped away.
Classic melodrama.
So it's tough. It's a hard one to categorize.
It's an interesting question about like, restoration and stuff, because like what do you do when it's not even a full thing you can restore, right?
Yeah.
Like, I guess I'm not saying there's no point to it, but like, then how do you justify the point? To, like, how do you choose something that to restore, and like, what do you put your resources to? Because this cannot ever be fully restored, right? So then, like, is it a waste? Obviously, I'm not saying it is, but like, does it feel like a waste in the sense of like, how much can you save really?
Yeah, I mean, maybe in a way, it kind of got me thinking about the importance of restoration and preservation. And of course, our conversation with our former classmate and friend Graham Brown in our episode on
Paul Fejos's Lonesome 44.
Thank you.
I mean, I think something I've realized recently, thinking about preservation and archiving for film, but for literally any kind of art form, is that you can't do it perfect. It's like impossible. Right?
Yeah.
Like it's not possible. So then the question of like, oh, is it worth doing it if it's kind of like halfway? And I guess the answer is yes. And then it's more of a question of how do you decide which pieces to do, because archival is like resistance against the passage of time. And of course, at some point, all this shit is done, whether it's like a million years later, like it's like the time will eat everything and you can't really stop it. Yeah. So it's always like interesting because archival is this like resistance that's in a way kind of futile in the grand scheme of things. And so even though I always say that archiving is for the future, then I'm realizing now that like maybe the act of archiving is actually for the now as well.
Yeah.
I think so.
Not the archiving, but the act of archiving, like the engagement with the material is part of it. Like the work of archiving is also valuable, not just the product of archiving, but also the work of it.
The process, yeah. That's life, baby.
Yeah, on that point, I've been thinking about these restorations so much and like sort of previewing your next film that you're going to talk about. This film has been getting 4K restoration releases all over the world. And something that I'm noticing going to cinemas in Hong Kong is that right now, like this whole year, there has always been a restoration showing on like local Hong Kong screens, which is not been common a few years ago. So I think the capitalizing on that and like showing old classics, like I caught PTU, which we covered on episode 10 in 4K on the big screen recently. Fallen Angels is playing on the big screen right now. Angel's Egg is playing on the big screen right now. Like all these old classics that are really considered like hallmarks of old cinema are being like introduced to a whole new set of cinema going audiences, and just that access there that people are able to have to older films now that they have like DCP releases and can be screened and sold to distributors worldwide is such an incredible thing to just think about and being like, wow, where people are participating and reacting to and interacting with film history right now, like general public people, not just like film historians or film academics or people like us. It's just like people who go to the cinemas. That's so cool.
I agree. It's a good thing, and it's also a good thing that it's not just like Die Hard or Hollywood blockbusters returning to cinema every year. There's really becoming outside of just New York City, I believe, a wider repertory culture because our new movies are not that great.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
The old stuff is kind of where it's at.
Even when we talk about new movies, and it's like, at what point do we, like maybe in 50 years, like somebody needs to like dig through the 2010s and 2020s and look for like the good stuff and like recommend them again? I mean, I'm not saying there are no good movies. We've seen good movies in these years, but there's that kind of the re-recommendation that needs to happen every few years, right? Like as movies get older and older. I guess the work is kind of cut out for the people of this time because there's actually so much stuff coming out, right, internationally, that it's like so difficult to sift through even as you're living through it. Then like to then come back and look at it, it's like, holy crap, how do you sift through this and find the gems that people haven't seen or maybe didn't talk about in that time and like resurface them in the future? I don't know.
I'll tell you how you do that. You start a podcast where you can tell people about the movies that they should check out.
I thought you were going to say AI.
No. Oh my God. Unless you're talking about AI directed by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah. Ooh, a little
upcoming.
Ooh.
Okay, let's keep this train going. I mentioned this film earlier. It is Angel's Egg.
Yeah. Weird. Weird movie.
Weird. I'm excited.
I don't know what kind of log line to give you for this one. It's a decrepit dystopian city town where a young girl has an egg that she's protecting, and there's a young man who is interested by that egg. And it kind of goes on for a while, and not a ton happens. It's pretty to look at in some passages. It's honestly kind of muddy to look at in some other passages. And I would almost call it a vibes movie, but it's like if I said the word vibes really faintly so that you could only barely hear me and you had to be like, what? And I'd be like, vibes. It has too little pulse for me. I did not find it very engaging or even frequently beautiful enough to look at.
Maybe to give it context, this is directed by Mamoru Oshii, and this is like anime movie from the 80s, which I don't think we've kind of mentioned yet. So if you've not heard of Angel's Egg, that's what we're talking about. It's like Japanese animation from the 80s.
And I also acknowledge that, that's not my area of expertise or really my wheelhouse even. So I fully acknowledge that there are probably just pieces of grammar that I'm not as familiar with or ways of approaching this film that would make it richer. But it does feel like a classic example of a movie presenting a situation and not developing it with enough plot to turn it into even a potential allegory or an emotional experience. I did not leave thinking or feeling much about it.
It was just not much there, right?
That boils down to that pretty much.
I think just looking at the poster and knowing literally nothing about this, like it sounds very like arty anime film that is just like supposed to be pretty and kind of weird to look at and strange. And this can kind of go either way. I'm really in the tank for this right now. I'm kind of excited to watch it because it's going to be in Singapore in a bit. Yeah.
I do hope you like it because I want to know how to appreciate it better.
And it's really short, right?
It's really short. It's a 70-minute movie. Yeah.
It feels a lot longer.
Yeah. So more famously, director Oshii made Ghost in the Shell. So like if no one of Ghost in the Shell, this is the same lineage. So that maybe that might pique someone else's interest. Yeah. Because it piqued mine. Fair. It piqued mine. So I was like, okay, I'll watch this.
Yeah, when are you going to see it, Ben?
In a few weeks for the Japanese Film Festival that's happening here.
So it sounds like listeners should stay tuned for that festival coverage.
It's not really a festival of like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain. I am watching a few Japanese films, but it's hard to explain.
Oh, but it sounds like we'll explain it on an upcoming episode of Deep Cut, a film podcast.
Of another festival that's not this festival, Eli. It is another festival he's talking about.
Wait, what? Wait, now I'm confused, actually.
No, Ben's talking about a Japanese film festival in Singapore, and he's also going to Tokyo International Film Festival, which is another film festival. That's how booked and busy we are as a Deep Cut trio. We are dedicated to bringing you festival content.
Yeah.
Whenever,
this is a small local festival that's in Singapore. That's called the Japanese Film Festival, but it's not a Japanese festival. It's a Japanese film festival.
It's not a Japanese film festival. It's a Japanese film festival.
Yeah, exactly. I'm watching a bunch of films though. Maybe just since we're on this tangent, I'll let you guys know what I'm watching when you find it. I'm watching, just fun facts, not important at all. I'm watching Shinji Somai's Moving on the big screen, which
lit.
I've been seeing the posters of in Tokyo since January and have held off watching it.
Wow.
It's on Mubi. I just still have not seen it because I've been waiting for it to come, and now it's here. And if I can make it and decide not to do a thing, I will watch another Shinji Somai film, which is actually a pink film called Love Hotel.
That one's supposed to be good.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm so ready to watch porn with other people in a theater. But I have some like competing plans, but I already have a ticket for it. And I'm watching another Shinji Somai film, The Friends.
That one's supposed to be good as well.
Yeah, I'm watching Angel's Egg and because I watched this anime, I'm watching this live action adaptation of it called, this movie's called Teasing Master Takagi-san.
Huh.
It's an anime about two middle school kids, and they basically have crushes with each other, and one of them's a girl, that's Takagi-san, and she keeps teasing him, and she's really good at it, and he's a Dumbo, and he is so bad at teasing her back, and he's just trying to get her, and he keeps losing. But the movie, interestingly, is not adaptation of that storyline. The movie is years later they meet up again when they're adults. Yeah, so I'm like, I wonder what this is gonna be, and it's live action, so
sounds cute.
Since I've already seen the anime, I was like, might as well watch this. Yeah, that's all. It's a tiny little kind of regional festival kind of thing that they do a bunch every year. Like they have a Korean one coming up as well. which I think no other choice might be yet. Yeah.
Ah,
That's really nice.
I mean, fun facts, if you're in Singapore, you should look out for these things. They are happening. Yeah.
Yes, support local arts everywhere.
Moving on.
Just another shout out to another restoration that is playing at New York Film Festival. This is our previous episode, the subject of our previous episode, episode 110, which is Tang Shushuan's The Arch. We all thought very highly of this movie, so I think we would all recommend seeing this.
Great movie.
And seeing the restoration on the big screen. We only got to see screeners on our computers, and it looks brilliant. And I think just being in a theater and experiencing that movie with a crowd would be pretty awesome. So go get tickets if you haven't yet for The Arch. I'm going to take the reins of the podcast again next to talk about Kelly Reichardt's latest film, The Mastermind. I'm so lucky that I got to watch this movie,
you've already seen this.
you guys. It's so good. It came to Hong Kong 1 month ago for the Hong Kong International Film Festival Summer Edition. And if you don't know, we are big fans of Kelly Reichardt on the podcast. You can check out our whole handful of episodes on her films. And this is a director that was new to me when we started this podcast and someone that I've really, really grown to love watching her films. And The Mastermind is no exception to this. It feels like Kelly Reichardt's big, blank check, type film in the most Kelly Reichardt sense of the term. I think it's just because you have Josh O'Connor, Alana Haim, these movie stars of the moment in this film, and yet it still feels incredibly Reichardtian. She takes the genre of the heist film and really turns it on its head, or turns it sideways and lets it just sit and let us just admire this heist film that's sort of suspended in time as this character that Josh O'Connor is playing is just dealing with life shit while also having pulled off a heist. I think a lot about Meek's Cutoff and how Meek's Cutoff was in relation to the Western genre. This plays with the heist film genre and is about similar themes, but I think the approach is very different. I think it's brilliantly shot. You do have a bigger budget this time, and I don't know if Kelly Reichardt's going to be able to make a movie on this scale for quite a while. I think it is really, I was just really impressed by the production design. It's set in the 80s, I think, or the 70s, and it really feels of that moment, everything, big sets, cars, that whole thing that just feels so anti-Reichardt but is just we are able to witness it in this film. Can't wait to talk about this with you two. It is so good.
Damn.
I've been hearing very mixed things about it, so I'm relieved to hear that you like it.
I think people are not Reichardt. They're not true Reichartians. I think if you know her filmmaking, this will click with you, all her other films do.
Great.
I can't wait. I need to watch it.
How's Josh doing?
Josh is not having a good time, but he's putting in a really good performance.
All right, let's move on to this next film, which I know nothing about. Mare's Nest.
Yeah, Mare's Nest by Ben Rivers is not one that I was planning on going to see until I read the words in the blurb on the Lincoln Center site. Don DeLillo, one of my favorite authors.
Oh.
So Mare's Nest is a kind of low-key post-apocalyptic episodic road-ish movie in which a young girl named Moon is going about these kind of natural settings, encountering other children, and there are no living adults left in the world, it seems.
Oh.
On top of that, there is a 20-minute episode detour in which Moon, both the character and the actress playing her is named Moon as well, and two other girls kind of act out, but more so just recite the dialogue from a one-act Don DeLillo play called The Word for Snow. And I have to say, for that episode alone, this was worth watching for me because loving Don DeLillo's language and his writing and seeing it coming out of the mouth of kids who clearly don't necessarily like have a full grasp on what he's talking about is very funny and self-reflexive, and not a put down to the kids intellectually, but it's just sort of this weird art object moment staging of this play. And it just sort of got me thinking on several levels, and it was a fun intellectual exercise. The rest of the movie is nice to look at and has some very cute moments with the kids, but I sense that Rivers exerts a little bit too much control over the child performances to the point where they're kind of affectless, which may be an intentional choice, but I found myself wondering what the movie would be if he had let it be even a little bit more improvisational, or let the kids lead the way in what they do in each scene. It is highly controlled in a way that feels counter to actually what he wants to do with setting children in a natural, lush, post-apocalyptic landscape.
This sounds interesting.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know, like when you say all these things, it was ringing for some reason in my head a Hamaguchi bell, and I can't explain why.
I don't know that I feel the Hamaguchi link.
I think it's the play within the film.
It's the acting, yeah.
Yeah, and because, sometimes Hamaguchi kind of goes with a bit of a flatter acting style as well.
That's true, but he also allows for weirdly more spontaneity than I feel watching Rivers' movie. Like, there's oddly more play in Hamaguchi than there is here.
Even though this one has a play in it.
Correct. Next, I was going to go see the new Noah Baumbach movie, J. Kelly. As I was waiting on the line for J. Kelly, I was like thinking, do I really want to see this, or do I just want to make a J. Kelly joke on mic? So I think it was just the latter, and I decided to step out of the line.
What's the J. Kelly joke?
That's incredible.
I thought of a couple. One is that I saw Queen Kelly.
Yeah, I was going to make a joke about that.
And there's J. Kelly, and there's also Kelly Reichardt.
Oh.
So it's the year of the Kelly. But also, my good friend through Brightwell Darkroom, Frank Felici, was going to see J. Kelly that day, and we had a near miss. We didn't run into each other that day, but we were texting, and he texted me just one of my favorite messages I've received recently, and which I've been thinking about constantly, which is just the words K jelly.
Yes.
That's fantastic. That is fantastic.
I would very much so like to have Frank on the show one day. He is a total delight and a mensch. So instead of J. Kelly, I went to go see a double screening of Tsai Ming-liang's short documentary Back Home and Heinz Emigholz' even shorter documentary Ecce. So Back Home, I had not seen a Tsai movie, period, in years, since I think undergrad.
Oh, wow.
And it was really fun to not just see another of his movies, but see a new one, because I hadn't seen any of his work since maybe the early 2000s.
So you haven't seen Anong Hun Hyang Si, the subject of this documentary, in days, like his star-making turn in that big Tsai Ming-liang film that came out in 2020, or big for Tsai.
Yeah, correct. This was my first time seeing him, and Back Home is ostensibly structured around him visiting his hometown and sort of Tsai going around the hometown with him, but the actor is barely a part of it. It's more so Tsai with his classic, extended long takes, static frame, and it's largely just shots of buildings, which I will admit lost my interest. But when he does turn his camera towards a group of people in a place and just lets them be and do their thing, it's a lot more interesting. And I'm reminded of what a keen observer of human behavior Tsai is, and also how good he is at curating that behavior in his edit. He has this counterintuitive, sometimes playful sense of timing in where he puts the cut.
Like, I would very much love to cover Tsai on the pod.
Same.
And yet the desire to cover Ho is a lot stronger.
Not
Really?
same.
Really?
Well, I'm not a Hou guy so much.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh, so yeah, I'm a Hou guy. So
I truly have given him so many shots and just not clicked with him ever.
I mean, that's the big one that I really like, but like I actually find Tsai, even when I'm bored, like more interesting.
Agreed.
Like, or like I'm like, oh, this is so weird. Like, you know what I mean? I'm more like a little bit more into it. I don't know.
Same.
I mean, if it's 2v1, we could.
We could.
Let's move on.
Ecce Mole is Emigholz's survey of 2 buildings in Torino, Italy, made by the same person. And I'd seen one of Emigholz's short documentaries before called Meilart's Bridges, which is just sort of static shots of these bridges designed by one architect named Meilart, and considering their place in modern Germany. Here, he's doing something not so dissimilar stylistically, where he's just sort of giving you these 5-second long shots of these buildings, both inside and outside, moving through the spaces like you're in a point-and-click computer game from the early aughts. And it sounds like that should be the most boring thing ever, but it's pretty entertaining, both from a spatial level, like discovering the buildings and seeing can you replicate the experience of being in an actual space through these static shots, these 2D imagery, basically, and through sneaky use of audio. Like, he doesn't have many hard cuts in audio between shots, at least when they're in the same relative space. He focuses on one building, which is a very narrow kind of apartment building, it seems, and then a larger kind of community center museum space. And that's where it gets pretty funny, in addition to like intellectually interesting. There are several visual and sonic jokes. There's weird play with the timing of cuts and how he cuts on action rather than on rest, which makes it feel oddly kinetic for all these static shots. And there's even, and if you're waiting to see this movie, I would say this counts as a spoiler, so you may want to skip ahead like 30 seconds. There's even a jump scare in this movie.
What?
Wow.
I don't know how to explain it, but in a movie with this laconic, slow, deliberate march, there's all of a sudden like a whip zoom on a car, the volume gets super loud, and there's a crash sound, and it goes to the next thing. And it made me startle very bad.
Whoa. That's pretty cool. That's like quite fun filmmaking.
It was very fun filmmaking, and I was quite legitimately shocked.
Wow.
So yeah, weird, interesting object of a movie, and interesting pairing with Back Home.
Yeah. Props to the team who decided to pair those two together.
Agreed. That was one of my favorite screening experiences that I had at the festival, for sure, for its novelty.
Your description of Ecce Mole reminds me of Aquaman for some reason, and
I see it. I see it.
You feel it? Yeah, like the way that you're talking about it, the way you're talking about the playfulness with the cuts, and I guess maybe like, I don't know, it sounds slow in some way, but like, is it?
It's weirdly not.
Huh.
I was more engaged and like hooked and attentive in Ecce Mole than I was in Back Home.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah. Weird. I would be very curious what you both would think of Emigholz if you watch like, even go watch Meilart's Bridges, which I think is like 20 minutes.
Right, should we move on? Next film.
Yeah, let's move on. I guess it's back to me, and I watched this also at the Hong Kong International Film Festival over the summer. This is Ira Sachs' latest film, Peter Hujar's Day. This is his follow-up to Passages, which I adored, and I think was a big hit with all three of us.
No. Not for me.
Oh, sorry. To me and Eli. Sorry, I'm speaking for Ben. I thought it was
I love Passages.
I thought it was a hit, but I guess not.
66% hit.
Yeah. This newest film from Ira Sachs follows a day in the life of Peter Hujar when he's interviewed by the writer Linda Rosenkrantz. And I think it was dug up from old transcripts that were not used by Rosenkrantz, where she was writing a book with interviews of people. And she's just asked him to recount his previous day. So we just sort of like go from scene to scene as he's chatting to her in her apartment, and he's just recounting the day he had the day before. And the last two movies that Eli was talking about was like boring on paper and not boring to like actually experience. But this was boring on paper and it was boring to experience. It was the longest 76 minutes that I've probably sat through this year.
Whoa.
The performances are good enough to like maybe like make it some merit, but I just think like I just walked in and I wasn't expecting to be like sitting and watching like a chamber piece, right? Where like it's just two people in an apartment speaking to each other. Maybe it was like my fault not studying up who Peter Hujar is and just like going in super blind, but I just didn't really like connect with who he was or like what image he had outside in like popular culture, that it was just felt so hard for me to connect with. I mean, if you're interested in this, I think it is set in New York and it's about the queer scene like in the 1970s. So it is a very like, and I guess big movement. And if you're passionate about that, I would recommend it. And it's only 76 minutes. But if you're not, then I would skip this. Sorry. I am moving on to the new Hong Sang-soo film, What Does That Nature Say to You?
That's such a Hong title, by the way.
It is, and
it's just like an overly long, vague phrase with one specific word, nature.
And I really don't think that it really has anything to do with the movie. Or I'm just like unsure with how exactly it connects to the movie. I mean, we will have an episode talking about this. And this is the beautiful thing with the new Hong releases. We're going to start talking about them on the podcast.
We cannot do them all.
I think this is really lovely. I think this is really, really fun. I think so. Our new like Hong leading man or like male actor that he uses a lot, Sung-soo, has a beard this time, and he is a boyfriend who's visiting his girlfriend's family home and happens upon her family. And they decide to spend a day together. And it is about Sung-soo interacting with his girlfriend's parents and her sister and sort of the tensions that arise there. There's really brilliant acting in this. Hong intercuts for like the first time in like forever in maybe his whole career, and I was like just mouth agape watching him intercut. I'm like, oh my god, he's discovering cinema. like really, like he's having a mind blow moment.
We hit Soviet montage.
Yeah.
He's up to the 30s.
Like, I can cut two different things happening at different times together. And the computer won't explode.
And iMovie won't explode.
But you too understand that like that's monumental. That's monumental for Hong Sang-soo to like just have him intercut. So like in the grand scheme of his career, I think it is like a big movie where he's like doing these things, but it's also a lovely time. I would highly recommend you watching this.
Wait, what does that nature have to do with this movie?
I don't know. The house is on a like farmland that's really nice, and they keep on admiring the nature around them.
So what did it say to you?
It said hello.
Okay, sorry, that was a bit. Blow it up with the next movie, A House of Dynamite.
Hey. And speaking of intercutting, this is a movie that uses a lot of intercutting. Ooh. If you like Threads or The Day After or any number of nuclear disaster, down-to-earth, procedural, realistic, what would it actually be like movies, you will like A House of Dynamite, in which a nuclear device is fired at Chicago and the government has to respond.
From what country?
We don't know. They don't figure it out during the runtime of the story, which takes place over about 20 minutes. And Bigelow and Oppenheim, the screenwriter, go through those 20 minutes 3 times with different sets of characters in the government.
I didn't notice what this film was.
It is structurally very interesting. It is a super effective thriller. I actually had a stomach ache like through the majority of this movie and afterwards.
Stomachache.
Yeah, kind of.
Wait, so it is 3 times 20 minutes. So this movie is 60 minutes long.
No, it's like 2 hours long.
What? What would the other hour?
How does that work?
I don't know. I'm not a math teacher.
What's the other hour?
I mean, there's some build up and then some afterwards.
Okay, there's something happens before the 3 times the 20 minutes starts happening.
Yeah, and also, yeah, I don't know, actually.
Okay, I'm not hearing if you liked it.
I did. Okay, so I think the thing that I was thinking about going in is that Kathryn Bigelow, as a director, and she's not writing this one. This is Noah Oppenheim, who wrote Jackie. Bigelow has had varied success with making political film, right? Hurt Locker becomes a definitive cultural shorthand for the war in Iraq, at least for thinking about the experience of American soldiers. And that comes with its own blind spots and gaps in consideration of the narrative around that war. Similar thing can be said for Zero Dark 30, except it has even more controversy surrounding it for its legacy of commentary on torture and the war on terror and what it does or does not glamorize. That movie has had a real sine wave of appreciation and rejection over the years since its release. Then it's Detroit, which I have not seen and is pretty widely considered a failure from my understanding. And then there's this, which is a very emotionally effective movie about how screwed we are if a nuke gets launched at the United States. And also that America-centric narrative chooses to not engage with a lot of geopolitics in the moment in which it is coming out. I think out of the context of the world right now, it is, again, a successful thriller and a compelling political alarm bell that she's sounding. There's just bigger fish to fry right now. So it's weird. And it's maybe a little bit of a victim of its moment of release. I do think that some of the reviews on Letterboxd are being extremely uncharitable and like overly uncharitable by saying it has no value whatsoever because it's, you know, ignoring the fact that America has committed awful atrocities abroad and at home, and focusing on the government reaction of what would happen were a nuke to be launched at Chicago. But those are the terms that the film is setting. And it's choosing to not engage with those things. I think up to you whether that choice is invalidating or not, but it's complicated. And it is sort of an interesting thing to think about. As a thriller, again, very effective, I thought. Bigelow's a great filmmaker. She's a great director.
What's the last one she made?
I've not seen any Bigelow. It was Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit in 2017, I think.
Yeah, she's been off the grid for a while, I guess.
She has, that's true.
And her and Jim Cameron are coming back on the same year, which is...
That's true.
happening again. Okay, let's move on to the last film, which after reading your review and seeing your rating for this movie, plus the director's previous work, which I think has been some of the strongest poetic, visually, sonically, I don't know, cinematic experience-wise, like some of the best filmmaking that is coming out from a young director. Let's get into your big sell of the festival, your big 5-star movie watching experience, Eli.
Yeah, and because it is a 5-star, I think I want to maybe put, or I maybe questioned my judgment because I was coming off of things that I didn't love, even though the experience at the film festival was phenomenal, and I think they're still worth seeing for that experience. I'm aware that, as with Cannes and Sirāt, I could go into a screening at New York Film Festival and overhype something or be overly receptive to a movie. I think even with that potential bias, Resurrection is a bona fide masterpiece.
Damn.
And an extremely, it feels like a turning point in, like when I saw Roma at New York Film Festival in 2018, I was like, wow, this is going to be a huge film. This is a landmark moment. in the cinema. And I feel that way perhaps more so now with Resurrection.
Say more.
So Bi Gan is a Chinese poet, and I had seen Kylie Blues, his debut. I did not see Long Day's Journey into Night, though I know that you both like it, right?
Yeah.
It's fucking fantastic. In 3D, it's fucking fantastic.
Nuts.
I do wish I'd caught it on the big screen. I'm still going to see it at some point, no matter the format, but yeah, missed opportunity. With his third film, he is creating a kind of epic anthology tied together by the premise that in the future, humans have figured out how to live forever, and it is to not dream. Those who dream are called deliriants, and the movie features the dreams of one deliriant as explored by a non-deliriant. And those dreams kind of weave through different epochs of film history and span the time of the 20th century over the course of 2.5 hours. They're all extremely moving, effective, creative, and poetic shorts on their own. And together they create this sum whole feeling about the nature of the medium to which we devote this entire podcast.
Yes.
So it's doing so much. I don't even want to say too much more about what specifically it's doing, other than to say that I really cannot recommend strongly enough that listeners try to catch this on the big screen. If you see one thing at New York Film Festival this year, make it Resurrection by Bi Gan.
Damn.
If you haven't seen a Bi Gan film, he made I think 1.5 minute short film called Secret Goldfish as part of like
that's also great.
Taipei Golden Horse Film Festival. If you haven't seen a Bi Gan film and you want to get a taster of what this man can do cinematically, go look at Secret Goldfish. I will link it in the episode description. It is 1.5 minutes, and it's some of the most like cinematic, moving imagery that you will have seen in that short amount of time. Sort of the genius that is packed into his mind as a director is not really matched these days. Like, I feel like, I don't know, his filmmaking is on another world.
And it seems like with this one, he's not only on another world, but has a significant budget and is using it effectively.
I mean, Long Day's Journey looked absolutely insane, right?
Yeah.
Like,
the long take? I bet there's a long take in this.
I can't say.
Oh.
Let's just say he's had long takes in 2 of his 3 movies.
at least.
At least.
At least.
But when it starts, you'll be like, oh, he's doing it. He's going there.
I'm excited. This is like top of my need to see next to like the Mastermind.
2025.
I really hope it gets distribution in the States soon because I want to watch it again.
I think strong feeling this will be at the Singapore International Film Festival. So I hope I can get there. Oh, I wonder if they would give me a press pass.
Me too.
Oh, you want to come to Singapore and watch this?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, there's a good chance it'll open in Hong Kong.
100%.
We may have to do an emergency Bi Gan series, I think.
Yeah, and we can cover all of them. Now he's only had 3.
True.
That's a nice number. It's a nice number. It seems like, I don't know, cinema's in a good place after this episode. I feel like there are a few good movies coming out this fall that people should be excited for.
Yeah, and not just the movies themselves, but I think the culture around cinema is alive and well. You know, I'm not a huge like socializer on the lines for these screenings, but I really enjoy seeing other people like making friends and running into people they know. I got to go to several screenings with my friends Frank and Fran and Veronica, and I got to watch like Richard Brody refuse to shake the hand of a white film bro. And
I want to see that.
And
Please.
I got to go in between screenings, like go grade in the Lincoln Center Performing Arts Library and, you know, eat lunch on the square in Lincoln Center. So it's been a really lovely week. I feel so grateful that I got to be a part of the festival with a press pass and just see the great work that Lincoln Center does, the lovely facilities, and the kind people that place attracts to go see great movies together.
That's awesome. I am also such a big fan of the New York Film Festival and like so happy that, I don't know, this has become a staple on the podcast. And I think this probably might not be the last time we talk about this year's New York Film Festival. A little tease for something coming out. I don't know when.
Oh, true. Yeah. I know what you're referring to.
Wait, what? I'm so confused.
Or
I'm also very sleepy.
who I'm referring to that might be on the podcast.
Let's just say we're going on a family trip to Denny's.
I don't know why it took me so long.
We're going out for dinner.
If you stayed in this episode this far along, you're rewarded with this. You're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, it is a tale of cinema.
Oh, that's one other thing. That resurrection made me think this is Obayashi-ish in some ways. I know that's Labyrinth of Cinema, but it just sparked that connection.
Oh, interesting.
Thank you for listening to Deep Cut. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts to help others discover the show. A great way to support us is to leave a review or comment on our episodes directly on Spotify. If you want to chat with us and other fans of Deep Cut, come join our Discord server where we talk about movies, TV, music, and share what we're up to. We also have a Patreon if you'd like to support us with a monthly subscription. Thank you to all our Patreon supporters, and a very special thanks to our Patreon Deep Cut Pick supporters, Leah Lai and Nicholas Gao. You can keep up with us on Deep Cut at Instagram, Letterboxd, and X at Deep Cut Pod. Click the link in our description or go to deepcutpod.com to find links to everything we've mentioned here. Deep Cut is hosted and produced by us, Wilson Lai, Benjamin Yap, and Eli Sands. Our cover art is designed by Justina Yam, and our theme song is composed by myself.
I'm Wilson.
I'm Ben.
I'm Eli. Take care, and we're looking forward to talking about more movies with you next time.